This video will show you how you can create word frequency queries in NVivo for Windows. Word frequency queries count the words used in your textual data. They offer a way to get a quick feel for what is important in a particular interview, a group of interviews, or node. Or they can be used as the first step to find keywords to use later in a text search query. Click the Explore tab and then click Word Frequency. The dialog opens with the default settings, which will run the query to search all files and externals in your project. If you would prefer to run the query on just some of your data in your project, you can select particular items such as files or nodes, or items in particular folders. I am going to run the word frequency on my interviews, so I am clicking to change the default setting files and externals to selected items. Then I click the plus next to my files, tick the box next to interviews, and this will select all of the interviews in this project. Then I click OK. I'm going to move this slider to include stemmed words. This means that when counting words, it will group together words that share the same stem, rather than counting them separately. So, for example, it will group together water and waters, rather than counting them as separate words. I could select just the top 50 words, for example, or select all words. I'm going to leave it at the default of the 1,000 most frequent. The default is that it will ignore words with less than 3 letters or those in the stop words list. This is a list of words which will be ignored in all lexical searches. This is pre-programmed for certain languages and includes words such as and, the, but, etc. But I can change the default if I want. Having set up my query, I can now run it. The results are in order of frequency, with the most frequent word at the top. You can change it to alphabetical order by clicking on the word column, or the number of letters in the words by clicking on the length column. This may be useful if you want to see if someone is using more complex words or speaking simply. Because I did a stemmed search, NVivo grouped together water and waters, developed and developer, live, lived and living. It also picked up some words I do not want it to pick up, such as Henry, who is the interviewer, and other words such as just. I can add them to a stop words list by just right-clicking over the word and selecting Add to Stop Words List. I'm going to do that for the word Henry now. Now I can rerun the query again in order to see the revised result. You may wish to review the stop words list before running this type of search in your own project. To access the stop words list, by simply clicking File, Info, and then Project Properties. You will see the stop words button on the right hand side of the text context language field. You can modify the stop words list by clicking Stop Words, and in here you can delete words that you don't want to have stopped, or by adding words. Just type the word or words you want to exclude or ignore. For example, I will type get, getting, and gets. The words are in alphabetical order, so it's easy for you to see what's included in the list, but you can add new words at the end of the list. NVivo will automatically put them in alphabetical order when you click OK. While I'm here, I also want to delete you from the list. I click OK and OK again. Now I will rerun the query and you'll see you is the most used word. Going back to the stop words list, you'll see that the text context language is set to English US, but I can change the language to the following 7 languages. So if I select French, you'll see the default stop words for French. However, if your project is in another language such as Danish, you'll have to select Other Language and add your own stop words list. You can easily do this by googling Danish stop words and then copying and pasting them into this box. The words need to be separated by a space and not be in a list. If you have made changes to the stop words list, you can always get back to the default stop words list by opening the list in Project Properties and selecting Reset. Then OK. If I want to save the search terms for this query, I can do so by clicking the Add to Project button and then entering a name for this query and clicking OK. The search expression will be saved in the Queries folder, which I will find by navigating to the search area. If I want to export the results out of NVivo, I can do so by right-clicking in the word list and choosing Export List. I have several file format choices for my export. You will also notice there are several tabs along the right-hand side of Detailed View. Click Word Cloud. Here, the size of the word is indicating its relative frequency. The result is identical to what we see in the list displayed on the Summary tab, except that here we are limited to the top 125 words. You can see how careful use of the stop words list would become more important here. There are many types of word clouds to choose from, and when you're viewing a word cloud, you can select your preference from the word frequency ribbon. In any of the word frequency displays, I can double-click a word to see how it is appearing in context. This can be very helpful in getting a quick sense of whether a high frequency is meaningful to me in interpreting my data. I can export any of these views out of NVivo by right-clicking and selecting Export. The word cloud will export as an image file. The summary list will export to Excel, Word, text or PDF file. Click the tree map to see another display of relative frequency. Finally, click the Cluster Analysis tab. Here, words are clustered according to whether they appear in the same file, not necessarily near each other. Now it's your turn to run some word frequencies. I happen to do it on an interview, but you could do it on a PDF for an article, or run a word frequency on a node to get a sense of what you have been coding to a particular topic. When running lexical queries on PDFs, words will only be found if the PDF has character recognition. NVivo cannot identify words in image PDFs.